Welcome to Ghost Education 101, where curiosity meets experience and the doors to the entire paranormal landscape are finally open. Hosted by Dr. Heather Leigh and Dr. Tiffany Frazier, this series is built for everyone who wants to understand the unexplained the right way. Whether you're just stepping into the unknown or you've been investigating for years, this is the place where you can sharpen your approach, deepen your understanding, and cut through the misconceptions that have overrun this field for far too long. Each episode walks you through the full spectrum of paranormal activity, classic hauntings, intelligent spirits, cryptids, elemental beings, poltergeist phenomena, and the modern challenges investigators face today. We break it all down. The science, the method, and the mystery, without dumbing it down and without drifting into theatrics. Grounded in research, history, and real-world investigation, Ghost Education 101 is your classroom, your laboratory, and your gateway into the most compelling unexplained experiences on record. Learn, question, discover. Welcome to Ghost Education 101. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. Heather Leigh and Dr. Tiffany Frazier.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Ghost Education 101. How are you doing today, Tiffany?
I'm okay. I'm feeling a bit better. How are you?
I'm good. I know it was a rough weekend for us. And real quick, before we get started, we do apologize for having to reschedule our class over the weekend and as well as last week's show. But we do have plans to get those dates out there, and we will let you know, and we will have everybody back and up and running soon. So anything you want us to talk about before we bring our special guest on board with us today?
I don't think so. Nothing's sticking
so?
out at me. Am I forgetting? Yeah. I'm on the tail end of COVID here. So if I am I forgetting anything, Heather?
Not that I know of, but we always have. And then don't forget this Sunday we do have our recap show. So we'll anything we missed today we'll be able to cover then. So those of you who have been following Ghost Education for a while, notice that about a little over a year ago, I disappeared in October for a few days. Came back, didn't really explain where I was at, but word came out that I was at Waverly Hills doing some work with Haunted Discoveries Family Spirits. And today I am excited to bring on one of the cast members, producers, jack of all trades from what I learned while I was there. Kevin, why don't you join the show and tell everybody a little bit more about yourself? But we're so happy to have you here today.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite on.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I can't believe it's been that long ago already.
I know. Yeah, time flies.
Hopefully we'll have some updates for those episodes soon. We did just finish reviewing all the screeners of them, and they have been submitted for release. So we're just waiting for that date to get to us.
Okay, yeah, I know I talked with Craig end of last year because he wrote the foreword for my new book coming out this year, and he told me that I'm going to absolutely love my episode. So I'm looking forward to see what you guys did.
Oh, they're amazing. Those 2 seasons they're phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, so much good and so much stuff just correlating with each other. It was pretty spectacular to see.
Yeah, it was definitely a great experience. And I do thank you guys again for making sure that I had a great time and took good care of me while I was traveling to help with that.
For sure. Yeah, we appreciate you coming down. And it's a lot of work trying to organize and schedule that many people coming in and out and make sure everybody gets their flights, gets to the hotel, gets there to film and back. And that's a lot to keep up with while also being in the show.
Right. You guys were nonstop from what I saw, but you guys had it all down and it seemed to flow very nice, and it flowed very easy.
A lot of pre-production work.
Yes. So before we continue any further, I'd like to let the viewers know a little bit more about you, what kind of got you into the paranormal and what brought you to the Haunted Discovery.
Oh gosh, I got into the paranormal. It was probably around 2006, I guess. I mean, I've always been interested in it. ever since growing up watching the original Unsolved Mysteries and stuff like that, and just telling ghost stories, driving gravel roads in Missouri with my family. And then I was working for a sheriff's department in Missouri in the early 2000s, and I started doing some side work for a private investigator. And him and his wife had a paranormal team in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Mm-hmm. So we got to talking, and they invited me on an investigation. So we went to a house that his brother owned at the time in Louisiana, Missouri, which is up just kind of north of St. Louis. And we spent the weekend up there, and it's where I caught my first EVP, and I was just hooked after that.
Mm-hmm. That's usually what does it.
That did it for me too. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
I caught footsteps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we caught a voice. We're still debating if the name said Scott or Scarlet. It was kind of hard to tell, but it was one of the two. But no, it was an awesome place. But then in 2009, I left Missouri and moved out to Los Angeles. And when I was looking for a group out there, that's when I actually came across Brandon, and we met for the first time in 2010 at Linda Vista Hospital. And we just stayed friends ever since then. And he actually did a show called Haunted Discoveries way back then, and actually went to one of the screenings of that. And then once I moved to Kentucky and got with the company I was working for, they were wanting to do something paranormal, and I reached out to Brandon and I said, "Hey, got some ideas." We revamped it.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Tiffany, do you have a question before I go? Because I've started writing down questions as I'm thinking.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, it's great to meet you. And so I have a lot of questions that are tied to you as a producer and investigator on the show. So I'd like to know, can you tell us how you balance filming with also having the responsibility of bringing people's like their emotions, like having respect for the emotions and what they've dealt with, and like how do you because that's hard to do. It's hard to film and also be sensitive to the stories they're sharing. So do you have any tricks for that? Like how do you guys go about
it's a whole team effort with our crew. We don't worry as much what the picture looks like. That's more the job for our director of photography, with camera placements and stuff like that. And so, Brandon kind of directs and show runs. Mustafa does a lot of the writing, and Craig does a lot of the research. And so, when we put everything together, it just kind of forms this well-oiled circle. With Kendall, our DP, focusing on the picture and stuff, that allows us the time to focus more on the stories and all the emotions that go along with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then one question I do have is, your crew is absolutely amazing. I just have to say that. All the way down to the camera crew and how they handle everybody. What do you think goes into, what do you think makes it important to pick a crew like that? And how do you guys go about picking the perfect people for the perfect situation?
Well, Kendall, our DP, he actually worked on Ghost Hunters with Brandon and Mustafa. And so they were already familiar with his work. And then we usually, once we get like the key department heads in, we let them bring on people that they trust, that they've worked with. And so it's not like you're working with a bunch of new cold people that you've never seen before, don't really know their ethic. We kind of let each department pick their own people.
Okay.
And so once, you're used to working with these people, you kind of know what to expect from them. Things flow a little bit easier, and it makes it go pretty well.
It does, because going into it, I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect because I had filmed for other shows before, and it didn't seem as organized or coordinated. And so on top of that, plus your entire staff and crew being they made me feel at home. And I thought that was a very important thing that you guys did compared to the other things that I've done. And it's just what you guys have done is amazing.
We like to take care of people. Like I said, there's a lot that goes into pre-production. I mean, we started working on the project several months ahead of the filming dates.
Yep.
You're just trying to coordinate everything, and when you're doing 20 episodes, it's trying to get all the people in and get their schedules to work for travel. and all that. So there's a lot of pre-production that goes into everything. And then, once we locked in the location, good thing is most of the crew, like Kendall and them, they've been there before, so they kind of knew what to expect when they get there. Okay. And so that kind of helped on that front as well, when it comes to choosing the location to film in and getting it lit and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And before I let Tiffany ask another question, that's one other thing I had is you guys kept Waverly Hills a secret. Before I didn't even know where I was filming. All I knew is you flew me into Louisville and I was picked up, and I was actually on my phone texting my husband saying, "Hey, I'm on my way. I'll let you know how it goes." And I can't remember her name, but the person driving me, she's Allison. Like, "Hey, she's like, do you recognize where we're at?" And I looked up, I'm like, "Oh, no effing way." I was like so excited once I saw the building. I'm like, "Holy crap." But yeah, so what was your reason behind keeping it such a secret?
The biggest thing, well, one, we didn't want it to get out that, we were there filming a show because we didn't want a bunch of people trying to show up and stuff like that and try to sightsee and that kind of stuff. So that's the biggest thing, when you're at an iconic location like that and people know, oh, there's this show filming there. Let's go check it out. And, they already have enough issues with people trying to sneak in the property that, if they knew we were there filming, it would have been that much worse.
Yeah, true.
Great. I just recently started watching Haunted Discoveries, and you guys have a really special, unique way of telling people's stories, but you guys are also researching and collecting data all at the same time. And so, especially now with what's happened in the paranormal world with TV and everything, do you think you guys are kind of paving the way and like laying new ground for whatever shows might come about in the future? Do you hope that they would kind of, I don't want to say copy you guys, but do you think that they might kind of take that more into consideration, that these people's stories, it's their experience. It's not just, it shouldn't be used just for like a sensational way to, make TV or, become famous or,
Yeah, I'm really hoping so. One thing that's different with our show than a lot of the other ones is everything from pre-production through production through post is myself, Brandon, Mustafa, and Craig. Brandon does all the editing too. So it's not, a lot of the other shows, they'll go in, they'll film the episode, then they'll give it off to whoever to edit it, story produce it, all that, and put together what they think the show should be. We do everything ourselves. So we put out what we want people to see. We're all there. So we know what happens. We know, what to look for. And so I think that's a big thing as well. Nothing on our show is made up. Everything you see in the episodes is how it happened. And so, that's a big thing, I think, is being able to do it all in-house ourselves. It is a lot of work, and that's what takes so long for our episodes to come out, is because we do everything. The only thing other people really do is we have another guy that does our color correction, a guy that does our post-production sound mix, making sure all the levels are equal and stuff like that. But other than that, we do everything.
You can tell too. Just from watching it, you can see the difference, and you can really feel the emotion, and you can feel the, you can feel the passion that has gone into the production of the episodes. Because when I started watching, I was like, this is just so different, and it's so refreshing.
And it's a lot about preserving history of these places. I mean, the true history, once you start looking into the factual history of locations, I mean, there's some places we've been where we've, other shows have been there and we debunked a lot of what they put out. And the people that own the locations were so happy when they seen the way we portrayed their episodes. A lot of times the factual history is more interesting than whatever the made up stuff is that you see on a lot of the other shows.
Right.
So do the research. We've gotten places to where, we kind of had a plan going in. Nothing on our show is scripted. Before we go to a location, we'll always do a Zoom call with the owner to kind of hear the stories and stuff like that and kind of put together just kind of an idea of where the episode may be headed. But I can't tell you how many times we've got to a place and that's completely changed.
Yeah.
Because we'll uncover something new. We'll find out some new information. And then we have to, go a completely different direction with the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, nothing's scripted. We'll bullet point out ideas based off the Zoom call. These are the claims. This is what we're going to look into. You have these kind of claims in this location. What would be the best equipment to utilize here? What kind of test would we try to do to document this? And plus having, Dr. Clore on several of our episodes as well, being a world-renowned scientist, that kind of really helps with our looking into the evidence of what we catch and, really being able to analyze that. Is there a natural explanation for it, or is it something that's unexplained?
Yep. And that's what I like about you guys is you take that deeper dive, not just the surface. Okay, this is a story I heard, and here's a quick Google search that we did. You guys actually, take the time to dive into the history of a location to find more than just what you're being told.
Correct. Yeah. And Craig's good at that.
I don't think people realize how much time historical research takes. It's not just looking on Google.
No.
It's time consuming.
And we like, pulling up newspaper articles to correlate with the stories that we're telling and stuff like that as well. Any documentation we can find, we like to use.
Yeah. I know Craig pulled up information about my grandfather that I didn't even know. And then he had the documentation to back it up. And I was like, holy crap. I brought it home and I showed my mom. I'm like, look what they found.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So,
it's always fun when you can do that, when you can bring up documents and actually look at, stories and stuff like that. And, in a lot of places you go to, like, when we've done several episodes in Perryville, Kentucky, where you had the Battle of Perryville during the Civil War. And you would get a lot of people that would go there and just focus on Civil War spirits, because that's the big thing there.
Yeah.
Kentucky is so much older than the Civil War, especially when you get around Perryville, you get into Eastern Kentucky and the Appalachians, which was part of Pangea originally. You have stuff there that is pre-Native American. I mean, it's old. So, when you go into investigating, you have to look beneath, the hotspot thing that's there to, to consider looking at. Yep. Which I think people need to do with a lot of locations is there's so much history older than, the locations themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have a quick question, Tiffany?
I don't know yet.
Okay, you don't have one right now? Okay. So one question I wanted to bring up is I noticed recently, it's probably been a couple months already though, but you were posting photos of you scuba diving. And the only main reason why I bring this up is one, I'm curious as to what you were doing. And two, because when I was at an event, a little boy came up to me and asked me if I'd ever encountered a spirit of a fish, because he wondered if there were ghost fish out there in the sea. So I'm going to throw that at you in case you've ever encountered anything like that while you were scuba diving.
I may have and just not known it.
I thought it was a creative question. It's amazing what kids ask me when I'm doing events.
Yeah, there's supposed to be. A friend of mine dove. What was it called? I think it was called Jenny Springs down in Florida, a year before last. And I got to looking at the place online, and it's apparently one of the top 10 most haunted dive sites, where they say that you can be diving and you'll see what looks like a person like swimming up to the top, and so you go to check on them, and there's like nobody there.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I didn't either until we were just sitting there, waiting in line to get up to the counter to rent our tanks and stuff. And I was just shit, look at this.
Yeah.
So, you get into diving and stuff like that, not just fish, but then you get into the whole, ufology stuff with USOs and stuff like that. And, it's hard telling. There's so much of our ocean that's not explored.
Yep.
And that's one of the things I really like about it is what not a lot of people go down there and look for things.
Yeah. Next time you're in Florida, I'll have to send you. It was the Carey's Fort Lighthouse. There was actually, I got a story from a worker for one of my books. He was working on it. It's no longer in use anymore, but it's kind of just sitting out there at sea, wobbling around. And he was fixing something underneath the lighthouse, and he saw what looked like a skeleton float underneath him in a pirate, like a ratty old pirate uniform. And then all of a sudden just vanished. And he's like, it didn't sink in the water. It just vanished. And he quit his job.
Wow.
He never went back. And but
the sea it's a scary place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially at night. I know whenever we take a
night
cruise,
diving's a blast.
It's scary looking. Yeah.
You only see what your flashlight's looking at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like what's coming up behind me, because it's not like you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
True. So what would be, outside of your recent diving, what would be your most interesting diving? I know we're away from the paranormal, but I love the idea of diving just because it's, I've never done it myself. So I live through the experiences of others. What would be your favorite place that you've been to?
I did a lot of diving on St. Croix early on in the Virgin Islands. That was a lot of fun. Then there's been a few times we've been down to Jupiter, Florida, and done the shark dives where you're just swimming, 11, 12, 13 sharks just swimming around you. I had one bump into me, and they're just curious. They just watch you and go about their day, and you just kind of float along beside them and just observe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
I know that area well. That was just about south where we were at in Florida. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we go down quite a bit and do some fossil diving around Venice, Florida.
Oh, yep.
I found a tiger shark tooth when we were down there. Let's see. I think it was over Thanksgiving when we were down there. Found a tiger shark tooth and took a close-up picture of it and put it on ChatGPT, and it apparently belonged to an extinct species of tiger shark that they date between 10 and 20 million years old.
Oh, wow.
That was a good find.
Yeah.
Then I have some like whale bones and stuff like that. That's got like teeth marks in them from where it got eaten by a shark and a bunch of stuff like that. Dugong bones, all kinds of fun stuff.
So Tiffany, are you going to bring us back into the paranormal here?
Yeah, I can do that. So we know that you're a field investigator, and you work with a lot of spirits, but do you do any other kind of paranormal investigations, UAPs, cryptids, anything like that? Because I think me and Heather talked about this in the past. When people hear paranormal, they automatically go to spirits and ghosts, but paranormal encompasses everything that can't be explained. So do you have any other interests within the paranormal?
Well, when it comes to UFOs, are you familiar with MUFON?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
UFO Network? I'm actually the chief investigator for Kentucky.
Okay. Very cool.
And so I do a lot of investigations with them. And then I want to get into more cryptid stuff. My contact down in Harlan, Kentucky, where we've done several episodes, he's been inviting me down there to go do some cryptid research with them, and I'm hoping to get down there for that sometime soon.
Okay,
because they're down there in the mountains right there in Harlan, and that's a interesting area down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have
I live in Georgia, so we hear some stories sometimes.
They have everything down there. They have cryptid sightings, UFO sightings, paranormal sightings. So you kind of get a good trifecta going.
Yeah. Yeah, we lived in Utah for a bit, and my daughter came to me recently because she saw something pop up, and it had to do with UFOs, and she's like, "Do you remember this?" I go, "Actually, yeah, we lived there during the time when it happened." And then I told her about the Bigfoot sighting on the hill that happened when we lived there, and
yeah, the UFO stuff's fun. I think, a lot of people sit around, they wait for, the government to say they exist, which I don't I don't trust them to give us the truth on them existing. I think, people that have had known experiences, they know that they're real, that they're out there. And I mean, because you don't really hear anymore about the cases like the Travis Walton or the Betty and Barney Hill, stuff like that. I just don't think those are getting told.
Yeah.
I don't think people's coming forward with that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But I think
Why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's more of like they're afraid of getting like ousted on social media, or I don't really know why they're not coming out as much, because you have a lot of people that have sightings and stuff like that, and like the ones that they've experienced on those cases. I always wondered if what the government has claimed they've seen is that the same type of craft that's doing the abductions, or is it something completely different?
Yeah. It's interesting that you brought social media up, because it almost feels like, a lot of people say, oh, it's safer now to, come out and, tell people what you've experienced or what you've seen. But in a lot of ways, because we have social media and that's such an interesting place, I think a lot of times it does more harm than people realize.
So too, because to me, it's like, you want the following, you want the clicks. Oh, look, AI. Now look what we can do with this.
Yeah.
And so even when people post videos and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know if this is legit. You almost have to be there, or know the person and have trust in them.
Yep. So going back to filming for the show, though, I do have one question that I thought of is, have you ever thought, because I know when we go on investigations, we always have some type of either camera or audio rolling when we're not filming, just because things happen when you're not filming. But do you feel that having all that camera equipment around affects the intensity of the experiences that you have, or does it maybe hinder some of the experiences you have?
I don't think it would really, I don't feel like it really hinders anything. Usually we run control cameras constantly once we start investigating.
Yep.
And, we'll have them kind of set up in like hot spots, just kind of all over the place. And I like them. There's been a lot of times where, you'll be in a room doing an EVP session or whatever, and then you walk out, and that's when things are like kind of pop off a little bit, or you'll see things kind of move and stuff like that after you leave the room. So I don't think they really hinder anything. I think they're more of an asset than anything to have stuff running constantly, because you never know, what's going to happen when you're not around. And how many times have you seen videos where they catch something that they don't realize they've caught because they went, oh, I didn't know, I didn't even realize my camera was on.
Yeah, happened to me recently.
Seems like you always see stuff when you're not expecting to. And so I think keeping things running the whole time, you're more apt to catch stuff like that.
Yeah.
And have you guys ever captured something that completely, I know you talked about how the research changes the narrative. Have you ever captured something during the investigation that changed the narrative of your plan for the show?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think back to which episodes they were. Tell you what, one of the biggest things that we've caught that I'm still blown away by, that I have no explanation for at all, and that's our episode from Harriman Hospital. And,
wow.
Was that season 4? I think. I don't know if you've seen that episode.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I haven't, but I know of
that one.
I know of the location.
That one I have no explanation for what happened there. It makes zero
now
sense.
I'm going to go and watch that.
Yeah, now I have to go watch it.
Yeah, that one makes zero sense to me. And like, season 1, episode 2 at the Louisville Bourbon Inn with that shadow on the staircase. We didn't even know we had that till a couple days later.
Yeah.
Because we had the camera running, and it was just myself, Brandon, Mustafa, and another guy, Zach, that was there with us on that episode. We spent the night there, and we had the camera set up, but we didn't even know we had that at the moment.
Wow. Yeah. It's amazing what happens, because we were filming a documentary in Goldfield, and we were in front of the Goldfield Hotel filming, and I just was standing there taking photos. And then we also have video and a photo of what appears to be a figure in a window in a home way down the road. So, you know, you had to zoom in to still see it. We got confirmation that that structure was locked from the outside with a padlock. So nobody was inside of it. And we had no clue that was happening until we 2.5 hours later, we're home, unpacked and everything. And here we found that if we had known that, we would have tried to get into that home to see what was going on in there.
Wow. Goldfield's that's a fun place.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh.
That's one that's definitely on my bucket
Next time
list.
you can travel, Tiffany, let me know and we'll go out there. I know the owner of the Florence Mine, and they have a lot of haunted activity there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to make my way out to Texas.
Seen my first shadow figure at the Goldfield High School.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish my first shadow figure had been at like a different location. Mine was in my own living room.
Yeah, I'd rather it be somewhere I'm not living.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
It's startling when it happens in your own home.
Yeah. It's interesting because I have heard rumors that the huge apartment complex that I grew up in has gone through a lot of renovation. And since I started getting into this work, I'm like, man, I wonder if I could get in there and like, I don't know.
Renovation seems like it amps up stuff quite a bit.
Oh yeah. And I do know for a fact that the location, it sits on top of, now I cannot remember what kind of rock it sits on top of because I was very little, but they had to change some piping under the street. And so they had to do all this drilling. And I remember like it was in San Francisco. So for days, we just lived through earthquakes because they were just doing all this drilling. And they had told us it's because of the rock, the type of rock that the location was sitting on top of. And I can't for the life of me remember what kind it was. It was very hard. And yeah, so there's definitely some stuff going on around that area. And I've always, you know, had the thoughts and told myself, like, if I could ever get back there, even if it's abandoned, I'm gonna try and get back there and figure out what's going on, because it was a really interesting place to grow up in. Say that.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Those are stories for a different time, but yeah. I always bring up the shadow person because that's what got me really interested and like fueled my passion for getting into this work. But there were some other things that happened over the years.
Now we looked and, you know, once we figured out that we had caught that one at the Bourbon Inn, you know, thinking about, you know, kind of going through and stuff like that. And you watch the clip and it actually is between the banister and the wall on the stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, even if people would say, oh, you faked that or whatever, it's like, okay, how? Because that's when I start thinking about, I look at my evidence kind of like I'm putting together a court case for a trial. It's like, what kind of questions would the defense attorney ask me? Well, there could have been somebody being backlit by a light. Okay, could have been. Here's why it's not.
Yeah.
You know, if it was backlit, you would have to have a matching staircase on the other side with somebody walking up it. And being that close to a light, the shadow would have been a lot bigger, and it wouldn't have put it on the inside of the banister.
I think, and I think I know the clip you're talking about. I think I've come across that clip that you're talking about, and I saw it, and I had those same thoughts going through my head. And I'm like, no, like I don't even remember how many times I rewound it to rewatch it, and like,
and it looks like
I said to my husband, I said, this one's legit.
It looks exactly like
what you
described seeing there.
Yeah.
So I know we were talking about how Tiffany's first experiences was in her home, and I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to spoil my episode, but you know, my first experience was in my own home. Have you ever had your work follow you home? Because I know I've had several cases where things I didn't want to follow me home followed me home?
I think it has only happened maybe once. And, it's when I was living in Los Angeles, and I was, I had a roommate at an apartment, and it was a 1-bedroom. And she hated her bed, so she was actually sleeping in the living room on a blow-up mattress, and I had the bed. And there's a big walk-in closet that we shared. And I had woke up, and it sounded like she was walking on the edge of the bedroom, like by the closet. And so I look up, and like nobody's there. So I was like, oh, whatever. So I try to go back to sleep, and I hear it again. It's just solid. I mean, I can hear her walking. Yeah. And so I get up and I go look, and she's still sound asleep in the living room. Mm-hmm. And it happened like once or twice more. And finally I was just like, will you please stop? I've got to be up early. It was quiet the rest of the night. Mm-hmm. But that's the only time I feel like anything has followed me home from anywhere. Okay. Even, sleeping in these places, I've never had an issue sleeping in a haunted location. The only place that I can remember stuff happening during the night was at the miners' cabin in Virginia City at the Gold Hill Hotel. We stayed in that miners' cabin. You could hear the center doors open and close at night. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I heard you get up and go to the bathroom. I didn't get up last night.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we were the Florence mine that I mentioned earlier. My fellow investigator and I, we were there for another project that we were doing, and we stayed. The owner of the home and the mine let us sleep in his in his home. So we had the living room, and all the kids were like, oh, can we sleep in the living room with the paranormal investigators? And the family's like, yeah, sure, go sleep in the living room. I had the couch, my fellow investigator, he had the blow-up mattress on the floor. And all of a sudden I thought he got up to go to the bathroom. So I opened my eyes to see if he was coming back, and he was still snoring away. And there was a dark shadow figure walking in between the children, just looking down, like checking in on them. I'm like, okay, you're asleep. And I like froze. I'm like, I'm not moving. I'm not letting anyone know.
Yeah.
And I just observed him for probably about 30 minutes, just walking around the living room, checking in on everybody.
Wow. That's incredible.
The weirdest thing.
I tell you what, after listening, doing, 41 episodes of Family Spirits and some of the stories that we've heard from people, nothing really surprises me.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I still get blown away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think it's amazing. Yeah.
There's just so much
one property that has everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Jerry brought up just like my shirt at Sorrel Weed House. Yeah. Yeah. We went to Sorrel Weed. It was back in November. And we were doing an ITC session, and I was kind of crouched down next to the spirit box, and I felt something on my back. And I'm a very logical person, even doing this work. So I'm sitting there and I kind of feel something, and I go, no, that's not, there's nothing. Well, then it happened again, and it was much more just like a definite, somebody gripped my shirt and was pulling it up my back. So I jumped up and I grabbed my back, and I'm like, something just touched me. And in my head, I'm like, there's no way my shirt was moving. So instead of saying my shirt was pulled up, I said something touched me. Well, about 3 days later, we're reviewing evidence, and we happen to have a camera pointing straight into that room. And I'm right there in the frame of the camera, and you can see my shirt be gripped and tugged upward.
Wow.
And I was blown away. I was like, I knew it. I felt my shirt being pulled up. That's a very distinctive feeling. And so to say that to people, of course, they're going to be like, yeah, right. Because listen, I would too. Like, where's the evidence? Okay, you had this experience. There's no like definitive proof. I'm not saying you didn't have the experience, but that's really hard to, right there on camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes it really takes, I think you said this earlier, sometimes it takes experiencing it for you to go, yes. you know, even though I was already doing this work, it's even for me who was experiencing it in the moment, I was like, there's no way, you know, that's not possible.
Yeah. People ask me a lot. They're like, "Oh, do you believe this stuff?" I was like, "Well, based on what I've experienced, I can't say that it didn't happen."
Right. Yeah.
And the video you had, Tiffany, I mean, you sent it to me, and I watched it probably 101 times trying to see if there was a way, you know, thinking how other people would tear it apart and like throwing you, could it have been this, could it have been that, and you know, so
and I was doing the same thing.
Out. Yep.
Yeah. And so I showed my daughter. She's almost 14, and she's very interested, and her brain is just like totally developing and always all over the place. And we have some really interesting conversations, and I love it. And she was asking me that exact question, and I told her, I said, you know, when it comes down to it, it's an experience, and it's my experience. And so, you know, I told her what I tell her all the time is, you know, you can explain it to people all you want. It's up to them to take it as they want. You know, you don't owe them to, you know, you're not obligated to explain it until you're blue in the face. You say it how it was, and they can take it or leave it, you know. And I said, had this not been captured on video, that's exactly what it would be for me. I had an experience, but now that I have this on video, I know for certain I had this experience, and people can still take it or leave it. You know, that's their right. And I think we've, as a society, kind of forgotten that, because there's so much debate back and forth in terms of, oh, we have to prove it, and sometimes we have to prove it so much that, you know, we kind of twist the truth. Or you have your complete skeptics who are like, no, it's absolutely not possible. And it's like, well, that's
you want to come along? No.
Unreasonable to, yeah, I know, exactly, right?
It's stupid. Come on, then.
So real quick before we continue, we do have some of our viewers watching us. Bill, welcome to the show. Shout out to Brandon, awesome dude and dedicated to the industry. And I think your entire team is. You guys have, I don't think I could have come up with a better team if I had tried to create one myself. Jerry Ann, she is always watching us. Welcome, Jerry. Sandra's also here. And Wendy has joined us.
Thanks for joining,
thank you, everybody.
Okay. And Tiffany, I do like what you said about, you know, people are meant to have that experience. Yeah. And I think that I kind of feel like the spirits can pick who they want to have the experience, because there's been several times where, you know, there'll be a couple of us in a room, and, you know, we all have two mics on, because we have a backup mic and our main mic. We have the boom mic. We have a mic on the camera. And we'll pick something up, but only one mic will pick it up.
Yes, I've had that experience too. Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of times it'll be whispered directly into your mic, but the boom that's right above you does not pick it up.
Or have you ever heard it with your ear, but your mics don't pick it up? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That to me is incredible, because how is that possible, especially when you have multiple people hearing the same thing? That happened with me and a teammate on a different location. We both heard a woman speaking to us, and neither one of our cameras or our body cams picked it up. It's like, how do you explain that? We're both not crazy. You know? So,
It's so weird how, you know, out of all the mics in there, only one picks it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just looking at some questions that I've typed up real quick as we've been talking. So one question we do get a lot is, with the paranormal field, we run into a lot of skeptics or semi-believers. I like to call them, because they're not fully believing, but they're not really, I don't want to say they're a disbeliever. But how do you handle that, either from the public once your show airs, or even from within your own team?
I mean, it doesn't matter. If you have the best piece of evidence there is, somebody's going to like us, somebody's not. There's always going to be somebody trying to say something. You know, you even look at movies that win, you know, awards for best picture. Some people think it's the worst movie ever made. Some people say it's the best. No matter what it is, somebody's going to have a different opinion. And so, I mean, you're open to your opinion, whatever you want to believe. Just because, I mean, your opinion, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're right. But
Right.
if that's what you believe, go ahead. If you're there and you physically experience it firsthand, you're going to have a completely different opinion than somebody that's never investigated the paranormal before.
Right.
You know, they don't know anything about it. They've never been out and done it, so they don't know what goes into it. Especially if you have an experience and you get correlating devices, you know, going off with that as well.
Yep.
So, you know, people can, I mean, they can, it doesn't do any good to argue with people, especially online.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Again, you know, especially with the show, it's like, oh, I didn't realize you were there with us. Oh, that's right, you weren't. So you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to remember that next
time. I was there when this happened. I know exactly that this is what you see on the show is what happened in real time.
Yeah. Right. And it's so hard too, because like we were in one location and we know everybody who was there that all of our digital voice recorders were at least 50 to 100 feet away from any person, because that was the only place for us to set it down in this location. And we heard, you know, it sounded almost like a growling noise. And they're like, oh, that's your stomach. It's like, from 50 to 100 feet away? I don't think so. And they're like, well, prove you were that far away. And it's like, they didn't allow video cameras in, so we have no proof that we were that far away. So I get their skepticism, but it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. We know what we caught.
Yeah.
But you're kind of blindly arguing because they weren't there, so they don't really know.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of blows me away looking, you know, through some of the comments sometimes, and just the people arguing with each other on there.
I know. Yeah, we don't have to voice our opinion when they argue with us.
Yeah, you really don't. They've already decided.
But now we get a lot of positive feedback, but again, you're always going to have your people that's just, no matter what you do, they're going to have something negative to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, that's still the hardest thing. I still have yet to watch any reviews for anything that I've been a part of. I don't even read the reviews for my own books.
Yeah,
because I'm so afraid that there's going to be something in there that I don't want to hear.
The only time oh, go ahead.
Now, every now and then we'll scan through them and just have a good laughing session at them.
There's been one comment or one review on a book that was just completely ridiculous. And of course, it was on Goodreads. And so that was like the only review that I actually reported. And I was like, look, they have no idea what the book is about. They didn't read the book. They're just bashing it because, you know, but that's the only time I've done that. And I also tell people, I say, if you see something bad, do not comment. Do not give it the thumbs down or anything, because that just feeds it into the algorithm and bumps it up so everybody sees it at the top. You know, just let it go. You know, don't feed it.
Yep.
Just kind of, oh, bless your heart, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, and just keep moving on. Yeah, exactly.
That is a true Southern answer on that one.
Yes. Bless your heart. I love it. I have a question for you, Kevin. After documenting so many cases, have you ever noticed any patterns that repeat across different families or locations, even when the activity looks different on the surface?
Yeah. There's been several places that, you know, there's been kind of a pattern of, you know, even stories that you hear from people that how do you say that don't know, when you have two people that don't know each other at different times telling the same story from different locations, like in the same area. Yeah, a lot of patterns. I mean, even like when we're down in Perryville, you get a lot of similarities between Perryville, Danville, Harrodsburg, kind of all over that whole area. A lot of similar stuff. When you get down into like Harlan and stuff like that in the Appalachians, which was part of Pangea, some of the stuff down there kind of correlates with stuff that happens over in Scotland and stuff like that, which they used to all be one piece. The Appalachian Mountains are, I mean, that's I think the oldest mountain chain in the world.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that.
Yeah, so you get there's a lot more pattern than you think, especially when you start kind of looking into it and putting it together. That's something I would like to be able to take the time sometimes, sit down and graph out.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Just they've had us so kind of busy doing back-to-back stuff and trying to keep up on everything that I haven't had a chance to really sit down and graph out, the
Yeah.
patterns. This is what we caught at this location. This is what we documented here. But I really would like to get those laid out and just kind of look at that pattern.
And then another question for you, because I'm starting to really focus on and hopefully also do some research in the near future on this topic. The topic of do you believe that a person or family's past beliefs, grief, trauma, the way they're brought up, things that they've heard, just experiences through their life, do you think that can change their perception of how they experience a haunting? Because you can have a location, right? And you can have one family experience just some incredible phenomena, and then they move and they'll say that it didn't follow them and they're okay. And you have another family move into that same location, and maybe they experience something, but it's nowhere on the level that the other family experienced, or sometimes they don't experience anything at all. So I'm really starting to focus on the idea that perhaps hauntings can, or the way a person's upbringing, their embedded beliefs can kind of change their perception and how they experience a haunting.
I would believe that, and I also believe that it's kind of what you're open to experiencing.
Okay, yeah.
Are you a completely closed off individual, or are you open to having the experience? The people that moved in there that's not really having anything, are they actually not having it, or do they not realize that they are having one?
That's interesting.
I think that happens with a lot of places. It's like, are they actually having things happen? They just don't realize it. They don't realize that it's paranormal. Maybe it's something like a knocking sound or something that they just write off as something else, not realizing, that's not what that is.
Yeah.
Even little things like that, or, just seeing something out of the corner of your eye or something. And I guess I'm just seeing things, but maybe you weren't just seeing things. Maybe something actually did pass by. But you just, you don't acknowledge it. Yeah. I think belief can really lend into the type of experiences that you have, kind of your upbringing and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think also with the upbringing and your beliefs, it makes you either more open or more closed to the possibilities of what could be happening.
And I think, if you're brought up constantly believing in it and, expecting something to always happen, can you project some type of thought form manifestation and make something happen?
Yep. Yeah. One thing I've always said is a diehard believer, someone who always wants something to happen, is almost as dangerous as a skeptic to the field, or a non-believer, because they're doing the opposite of trying to disprove it. They're trying to prove it so badly that they could be making it happen.
Yeah.
I want it to happen organically.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to be forced. Ask questions, let them answer.
Yep, definitely.
That's one thing I always wondered too about, like, when you get into thinking about like thought form manifestation and stuff like that, and you look at a lot of these places, because so many places now have like the ghost tours and stuff like that, and the ghost walks. When you have that many people telling the same stories about the same location night after night after night, are you actually helping keep those spirits alive? Or are you like, focusing on something and create something there that never was there before? And when you have that many people focused on one thing, can you project that?
Yeah. And that's one thing I uncovered in one of my recent books about Jose Gaspar. there's no record he ever existed.
Mm-hmm.
It was a made up story for a hotel wanting to bring tourism in. And now Florida celebrates this big festival about this man who never existed. And people are now seeing him on the shoreline in the Tampa Bay area. And there's no documentation.
The shadow, we called it Louisville Bourbon Inn, the girl going up the stairs. There's no documentation that she was ever a real person.
Right.
There's stories from the family that said she was, but we cannot find anything showing that she was a legitimate person.
Yep.
Yet we caught the shadow, and you know, people can't say, "Oh, you're seeing things." It's on tape.
Yeah. Right.
When you can rewind and look at it again, you're not just seeing things.
So I know with your show and everything, you guys take a lot of effort to make sure you take care of historical properties, property owners, and then the stories that are shared within them. What steps do you guys actually take to ensure that you do this ethically and that you respect everything from the property owner to the actual spirits at the location?
I mean, the big thing is, treat the places with respect for sure. You know, don't go in and do your research. Don't make up the stories. You know, report on, you know, what you know to be factual. Now you can ask questions about stuff that you're not sure of, but don't go in with, you know, claiming that that's 100% fact.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everything from just trying to preserve the places, get the stories out about them, get, you know, people interested in it. You know, Brandon's done a heck of a job with the place that he bought in Perryville for preserving that.
That was my next question.
Yeah, preservation of these places and, you know, the stories and stuff like that. You know, it helps keep the memories of these people alive.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we have one of our episodes that's going to be coming out in season 5. And the lady we were interviewing, she said something, you know, that I thought was interesting, which just hasn't been released yet. But she's like, you know, I think people go through 3 deaths in their life. She said one when you pass on from childhood to adulthood, one when you pass away from adulthood and you're actually dead, and then the third being whenever, you know, if you're a lost grave and whenever you're forgotten to time. And you know, luckily with what we do, we've had, you know, great access, you know, and getting to know Billy Wilkerson with the Simpson County Historical Society, who does our ground penetrating radar. And, you know, if you look at our episode from Harlan in season 3, when we went to that influenza cemetery, and the whole town's always heard about, you know, this mass grave being there, but nobody's ever, it's always been a legend. And then to bring him out and actually uncover that there is a mass grave there. And they've actually put up a monument since then to remember these people. So, you know, that kind of preservation for a lot of these locations goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, anything you can do to keep the stories alive, keep the places alive, you know, respect them. One thing that really, really pisses me off is when you get to some of these nice historic locations and they're just tainted with vandalism and that kind of stuff. It's like, why?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to see that.
You know, and if you go to a place and it says no trespassing, find out who owns it, get permission to go in. Don't just break into places, and, you know, respect the locations. And that's, you know, the like you said, the field's already hard enough as it is, let alone when you have people doing stuff like that kind of discredits a lot of stuff.
It does. Yeah. It does.
Make it a lot harder for a field that's already hard.
So hard. And if somebody asked me, they're like, why did you get into this? Like, well, I like to take the hard route in life, I guess.
Yeah.
It's if you catch something that's trying to figure out what it was, is there a logical explanation for what we just experienced?
That's exactly what I tell people. And also because I like to take the hard route in life.
And
But I mean, I'm always up for a challenge.
mhm.
It is challenging, and it's not just challenging just because we're trying to, you know, uh, prove anything to, the so-called real, or whatever you want to call it, scientific community. But, it's also for ourselves, because
Yeah.
if you're good at what you do, you're not just doing it just to prove your own theory. You're
Right.
doing it to find the truth. And if that disproves your theory, then so be it. That's what real science is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Yeah.
that's, to me, it's just, that's got to be the most interesting thing on the planet, is to go after something and just try and find the truth. And maybe we'll never find it, but hey, it's going to be an interesting ride, right? So,
And you learn so much about the history and these locations and stuff when you're researching them. And,
you
the
do.
the paranormal is one way to get people interested in history that usually wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like not if you say, "Oh, you want to hear a cool story about history?" People's like, "Eh." You want to hear a cool ghost story? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
exactly.
Well, let's learn about the history to learn what the actual story of this place is,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
what could be there and why they could still be there.
Sure. Yep. And one thing that I run into a lot with teams, and I guess I could say I get their point to a little bit, but a lot of people say that they don't want to research the history of a location before they go. And just because they want their paranormal experiences not to be tainted by the history. And I can understand that to a point. However, one example that we have is we're investigating a location. The rest of my team had no idea that it used to be an old Mormon settlement. And it continued to be a Mormon settlement up until like recently, not recent, but recent enough. And we had a question that someone asked us, who's our current president? And we did a quick EVP birth session, played it back, and we got the name Jeffs. And everybody on my team is up there wrong. They're completely lost it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Because I researched the history of the location and I researched the history of the Mormon faith because of that. I'm like, the people who were here believed that Rulon Jeffs was the president because that's what they told them. So it kind of all, so knowing that history to me made me able to ask further questions based on the history of the location, where a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to know a thing about it. And I just want to kind of know where you guys stand, because I know Craig does his research. But where does everyone else kind of stand on that aspect?
I like knowing the history so I know how to guide my questions.
Mm-hmm.
I think what a lot of people get into that they don't really want to know is, I would think it's more of like, what are the experience people have here? What did they experience in this room? Do they see this
Yeah.
type of figure?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff I'm not as interested in. Is what's the history of this place? What happened here?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know like, oh, so-and-so was picked up off the floor in this room over here in this corner. Let us have that experience, but this is the story of this location.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've had people who actually like, this happened on this day in history, not paranormal wise. And they're like, nope, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And it's like, why? I just think it would make more sense to know the history to help guide the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that way, you, like I said, you kind of know what you're getting into. Because like you said, if you're at a Mormon place, but you're asking questions about, something completely unrelated to that because you don't know the history of it. If you're asking more Mormon related questions, you're more likely to get a response than something that's just off the beaten path.
True.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very true.
And I find it funny too. They won't learn the history of it, but they'll go around and ask people, they'll ask the owner what paranormal experiences is the property having, but yet they won't listen to what the history is about. I would rather get the history, not the paranormal experiences, like you said.
There's an episode that's going to come out in season 5 where, we got the history of the place and we didn't start getting hits on the equipment until Craig was talking about specific things to do with the history of that location.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
spirits, they were people, and so they have their personalities, and some things are going to be interesting to them and other things are not.
Yeah.
So I think that's
And
really
Craig
important to know the history, so that you know what the people were like, if you can try and get that information, because maybe you can say something that can, relate to them.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about their family members and, different things that they did in their life that they can relate to.
Yeah, kind of like having a trigger object.
Yeah, and Craig's such a good storyteller. I'm sure the ghosts line up just to listen to his stories too.
But yeah, it's like I said, I'm not as much on, going into a place and being like, what these are the, I kind of want to know what the experiences are, but I don't need to know like, what room did this happen and what happened over here and, that kind of stuff. We'll kind of figure that out. But
yeah.
It is kind of good for us to know too a little bit, so we can get an idea of where to place like our control cameras and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Yeah.
So it is kind of, good to know a little bit of it, but I can understand why people, don't want to know that, because they want to go in and, have their experience.
Yeah.
But, like I said, when we go in and try to actually research the history, we need to know the history.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a topic that that paranormal television needs to explore that they haven't explored yet? Or is there a topic that you are hoping to explore at some point?
Topic wise, there's so many different shows out there now. I don't really know what hasn't really been touched. One thing that I would just like to see is people actually focusing more on trying to gather data that can be analyzed and be looked at by a third party.
Yeah.
And Tim mentions the scientific method, and this is something that I've written a lot about in several magazines and publications on how to use it with this paranormal field. And I think I agree with him on that. That needs to be explored more.
Luckily, Curtis Maloney, who built our APLs, our atmospheric phenomenon loggers, did a great job with those, because they, detect your temperature, your pressure, your humidity, your EMF, your vibration, motion, and it logs it all in real time to a graph internally that you can download to a program and look at.
That's cool.
And it's all time stamped and everything. And then we use like the Kestrel environmental data loggers that measures, wind speed, magnetic compass, all that kind of stuff. We use a lot that's not made for the paranormal. And then the EMCCD camera being one of our biggest assets that we use, that detects like single photon events and that type of stuff. And there's been times where we have documented, a photon event that has set off EMF and changed the magnetic compass direction on the environmental data logger all at the same time. So there's something to, those photon. You can't see them with your eye, but they're happening.
Right. Yeah.
And when you can correlate that with equipment going off at the same time, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you that it changed. It's got a magnetic pull to it, and it can set off EMF.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day we can figure all that out.
That would be fantastic.
So with all of the work that you guys put into Haunted Discoveries, if your audience took away one thing, what is one thing you hope they take away from your shows?
I think the biggest takeaway would be, like one of the biggest things we pride ourselves on, besides, the data collection, is just the historical preservation. These places are getting old. They need to be taken care of. And, it's good to have historical societies and stuff like that can step up to the plate with these locations. but even trying to get funds for some of these now is just, it's getting really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think a lot of places don't realize how much it could help them if they would open their places up to investigating. But then, the problems we had, like when we started on season 1, when I was trying to find locations is, you reach out to a place and you're like, we're doing this paranormal TV show. And they're like, I'm not familiar with that. Let me YouTube it. And then they see some of the stuff on YouTube and they're like, nope, we don't want to be associated with anything like that.
Yeah.
It's like respect the places. I can't tell you how many locations we've got that they said the only reason we're calling you back is because we've seen your episodes and we like the way that you go about doing your investigations.
I've heard that so many times.
After these places, we like the way you tell the stories. And there's been places like, well, can you send us a script? I was like, no, we don't have a script. Well, what do you mean? You tell the story.
Yeah.
This is your story to tell. It's not our story. And that's why we like to interview people that's associated with the locations, other historians and stuff like that, is because we want to know the story from your point of view. You're there all the time. Tell us the story of the place.
Yeah.
Yep. So will we be saying the JJ Polk House or museum in any future episodes?
It's gonna be you're gonna be seeing it pretty soon.
Okay. I kind of figured you guys were filming there, but I wasn't.
Yeah, there's some stuff that came about there that none of us were expecting.
Yep, definitely keep my eye out for that one. I'm hoping to get out there and visit it one day.
Still kind of blows us away on. Yeah, it's a really interesting place. And before Brandon had it, I don't think that place has ever been investigated before. We were the first people to ever do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
so the spirits there are curious as to who you guys are and what you're doing.
And now, I mean, just looking at it now and the way it was when he purchased it, looks completely different.
Okay.
I mean, he's done a lot of work to that already. And, there's already been several teams in there investigating, and there's been a few that's been back, 2-3 times already.
Yeah. That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I was excited for him when I heard he was buying that.
Yeah. And just, all the research he's been doing. And it's like when you think you pretty well have, as much knowledge as you can get on the place, something else comes up, something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone traveling through that says something about what they did as a child there or something, or they remember it while growing up. And
yeah, just talking to some of the townspeople. Yeah, when I grew up around here, I used to see this in here all the time. So really, tell me more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same thing this person said, and you have no idea who they are.
Right.
I think when you get several people telling the same story, I think that correlates a lot with something's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely says a lot about location.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought that was something super interesting. That and like little kids and stuff that they see, where people's always saying, "Oh, you just got an overactive imagination." Like, no,
not always.
Yeah,
they're seeing something.
Yeah.
And through so many episodes of Family Spirits, how many people were talking and be like, "Yeah, the kids, they would describe this person, then they see a family album and be, oh, there he is. That's who I see."
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We had that. There was a small museum. It was a above ground mine, but it was simulated to look like you go underground. So it was this really beautiful museum that was built. And we would host weekend events that would open free for kids to come in and check it out and learn about the history of mining. And we knew nobody was in there at the time because there's only one way in, one way out without the emergency exit alarm going off. And another one of the volunteers and I were standing outside the door, just kind of talking away. A little kid comes running out because we knew they ran in and came out. And they're like, "Can you please let the person in there giving tours know that I appreciate his time and showing me everything that he showed me throughout the place?" We're sitting there thinking there should be no adults in there right now. Like, okay, who's this crazy person in there talking to these kids? And we asked the child to describe him. He was in full mining gear. And we're like, there's nobody here dressed in full mining gear today.
Oh my goodness.
So we both go running in and we're looking around. There's nobody in there. The door's still sealed in the back. And then the kid looks at a photo and it's like, oh, him right there.
Oh.
And it was the greatest experience ever. And it was a miner that we knew that I had interacted it with several times in the past at the museum. So it was kind of nice to have this little child have the story. And he said that he took him room to room, talked about the different artifacts, showed him the little mine shaft elevator that they had in the back. And he was like so excited to get this information from this miner who took him on a personal tour of this place. And it was like, okay.
That's enough to give you chills.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the person I was with, he's like, I never thought that any of the stories I shared with him were true. He's like, I didn't think you were telling me the truth. I just thought you were making it all up. And I'm like, nope.
And you're catching stuff. You're having the experience and not even realizing it.
Yep.
And he wasn't scared or anything. Like, what an amazing memory that kid has.
Yep. I mean, he thought it was a person. He thought it was a tour guide who was giving him a tour of this museum.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff's really, really interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's like I would love to have that type of experience sometime.
Yep.
Yeah, that happened with my son here in the house when we first moved in. Like, who are you waving to? There's nobody. Had I been just 2 steps ahead, I would have seen what it was or who it was.
But then would you have? Was it only making his presence known?
Well,
your son?
Who I think it was lived in this house. This is a family house. And so he passed away about 1.5 years before we actually moved in. He didn't pass away here, but he passed away about 1.5 years before we moved in here. And so I have a feeling I know who it was. And my son knows this person. And my son is also special needs. So I think he's a little bit more open and attuned to that stuff. And it was, at first, as the mom, I'm like, what's going on? But also to see my son not scared, and he obviously had this recognition. For me, I was like, I know exactly who. I know exactly who it was. So it was actually comforting. I wasn't scared or anything. But we got
that story a lot too, where people say that their experience was more comforting than it was scary.
Yeah. Because I've experienced things here too.
Yeah.
And like there's a particular room in the basement. And our basement, I don't know, to me it's not scary. I'm not scared of it. But there's a particular room, and there are some things in there that was left to us. And every time I need something, I go in there and I say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. And wouldn't you know, every single time I walk in there, it's like literally in the place, like right when I walk in, I'm always able to find it. It's like just right in front of me. So yeah. Pretty cool.
You're making the spirits do your dirty work and find what you need.
No, he was super helpful. He would be proud. He would be very proud. Sometimes I hear his voice too, like what he would say. I'll just use that.
Make it work.
Yeah, exactly. It'll work, and it always has. So always works out for the best.
So one question we do usually ask all of our guests on the show is any particular place that you would love to go investigate or have unhaunted discoveries that has not been done yet?
Oh, places I would like to go that haven't been done yet?
At least by you.
Oh, by me. Oh,
by you or the show. Or any place that might not have ever been investigated.
There's so many places I'd like to go. There's a lot of that I've never been to yet. I haven't been to Trans-Allegheny yet. I'd like to do that one. Ohio State Reformatory, haven't been there yet. I'd like to do, Lizzie Borden House and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to Eastern State yet or Missouri State. I'd like to do both those. And the other thing when the show first started out is we went to a lot of places that people never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of them being bed and breakfasts and stuff like that, which is cool because you can actually go stay there and see if you have the same experience as we did.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And, there's actually a lot of places that we've done on the show that haven't been done by anybody else and people just didn't know about them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of places I'd like to go. Some of my favorite places, that's not been on the show is I love Point Sur Lighthouse out in California, up in Big Sur.
Oh,
Love Point Sur. Virginia City's always a blast. Goldfield's always a blast. I'm trying to think. I'd like to do the St. Augustine Lighthouse. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That one is a lot of fun. St. Augustine altogether, I think you'd have a blast out there.
I've been through there before.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to be able to go down and dive on some haunted shipwrecks.
I was going to say, go find Atlantis for us.
yeah.
Because one thing I wondered, because, we have some GoPros and stuff that are modified to full spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And I can, I have the waterproof casing for those to use underwater.
Yeah.
So can I pick up stuff underwater like you do above?
That would be a good theory to test.
Yeah.
See what you can and can't do.
Mm-hmm. Because if you can pick up spirits above water with, wider spectrum, can you do it underwater?
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I just need to figure out a waterproof IR illuminator.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's so much you could do underwater. Oh my God. There's not enough lifetime to figure out everything that we want to do.
Like an EMF detector and stuff like that I could use underwater.
I was going to say, you should be able to make some type of waterproof case, kind of like that goes around the GoPro.
But I need to make sure that
how would you
the sensors are reading it accurately.
Yeah, that would be the issue.
Yeah.
And is it waterproof down to 80, 90, 100 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That
would be
something I need to look into.
I was going to say, you have the resources to make that happen. So
yeah.
Maybe something we need to put in the works.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I know when we go on vacations, they're not your typical family vacations because my family's my paranormal team. So like we're going to Galveston in October before we go on a cruise. And of course, we're going there 3 to 4 days beforehand, and we're staying at a haunted bed and breakfast right there by the port.
Nice.
And then day one of the cruise, our first port is Key West. And of course, we're getting picked up by David Sloan, and we're getting a haunted tour of Key West. So
I was just actually talking to one of my friends last night from Galveston. She wants me to come down and visit and do the ghost tours down there.
Yep. Yes. So we're kind of looking forward to that.
Soon.
Yeah. In Galveston, there's this company, you'll have to look into it. It's going to make it fun. They rent golf carts, but they look like old Model T Fords.
Oh, that's cool.
That you can drive around Galveston. So we're going to be getting one of those too. So
how fun.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the bed and breakfast because that is something, it's haunted, it's unique, and it's not your standard. You're not going to have 101 people flooding the place because it's only for those staying there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, now as of locations that we've done on the show, we've had some good ones. I mean, Brandon's place is awesome. The Polk House, get there if you can. We dropped down into Tennessee. We did Brushy Mountain. We did Scott County Jail. Those are a lot of fun. Portal 31 in Harlan, the coal mine. That's a lot of fun because you can actually get back into the mine. Benham Schoolhouse Inn. We stayed there whenever we filmed at the Portal the first time. It's a haunted schoolhouse that's been turned into an inn. So you can rent rooms there. They still got the lockers in the hallway and everything. That's a cool place to check out. Gosh, we've done so many episodes. It's hard to keep track where all we've been.
Right. And I know I haven't seen them all. So, I mean, have you guys done anything in the Mammoth Cave area?
We did the Grand Victorian Inn that's down there in Cave
Okay.
City. And we did Hall Place Bed and Breakfast that's in Glasgow.
Okay.
Hall Place was a good one. We actually did that one twice. We had a really, really good interaction there.
Okay.
That was I don't remember if that was season 1 or 2. That was season 2, I think. That we went there. Hard to keep them all straight anymore.
Right. Because I know we used to, I mean, going back to when I was in my 20s, our family vacations, again, we didn't do your Disney World, Disneyland, or anything like that. We did historical locations. So our vacations usually were spent going up and down the East Coast, going to Gettysburg, Harrisburg, you know, all of those places. And we went to Mammoth Cave every year. That was one of our locations. And we would always stay at the cabins right there on the national park property. And there was a lot happening there. And some of it I don't think was actual ghosts. I think it was like a cryptid borderline. So there's a lot there.
Now, one place I want to go that has a lot of sightings of all three as well is around Red River Gorge.
Okay. Yep.
Here in Kentucky. There's a lot of cabin rentals and stuff you can get there, but there's a lot online about paranormal cryptids, ufology around that area.
Yep.
And we're actually really close to there in season 6, which none of that's come out yet. I haven't even got to those cameras for review yet.
You know, you guys are busy when you can't get to everything to review for a while.
I know. It's like we did 3 seasons last year.
Oh, wow.
You did 3 seasons in a year. You filmed it at least. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of review.
Like, as soon as we got done with season 5 at the beginning of the year, we couldn't jump right into that edit because we had to finish editing Family Spirits season 3 and 4 from October. So once we finished that, we started editing 5, and then we went and shot season 6 and season 7 almost back to back.
Oh wow!
So
That's
finished
so
those, and then we had to. We're still finishing up season 5 now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know you guys don't stop even when you're in between seasons, because I see the postings and I see the questions you guys put out there looking for other projects. And it's like, oh my goodness, how do you guys do it?
It's nonstop. And I mean, when we're in production, it's literally 7 days a week for the 4.5, 5 weeks we're on the road.
Yeah. But I mean, you guys enjoy what you do though. So I think that's all that matters.
It's fun. It wears you down. By the time we get to the last episode, it's, you know, you're ready for your own bed.
Yeah. That's true.
But it's good when, you know, I kind of have tried to build a schedule to where we, you know, make a big loop where we're not like backtracking all over the place. And,
right.
You know, I try to give us a day off between each investigation and stuff like that, just so we can kind of recoup and, you know, rest up.
Because it wears you down. Those investigations, like, they take a lot out of you.
And paranormal hangover is a real thing.
Yeah,
especially if it's an active location.
I didn't believe it. I did not believe it until I had it, and wow. I need like 2-3 days before I can even look at a piece of evidence or even want to.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, it's like we finished one location. It's like, okay, let's reach out to the next, make sure all the interviewees are still confirmed, make sure they're actually going to show up at their times. And, you know, is everything set for the next hotel? So then we moved to that one. And all right, now let's look at the next location. Are all these people ready to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to kind of...
Even last October, while I was sitting there, I mean, I had some time just to sit back and relax and watch you guys, and you didn't even sit down once. You were all running around and...
we get it done, and it, you know, the hard work shows. And
it definitely does.
Yeah.
So talking about different projects, I did I recently see you and Brandon on an episode on TLC?
Yep. Yeah, we were on a episode of 1,000 Pound Sisters that come out yesterday, actually.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, Amy was looking for a haunted wedding venue, and they reached out to us, and We took them to the couple places that we went to in season 1, the Talbot Tavern and Jailer's Inn in Bardstown, Kentucky. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. They were fun, a lot of fun to work with, and you went there.
Okay, that's cool. Did you end up finding her a location?
We did.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the episode yet, but I saw the preview and I was like, oh, I got to bring that up tomorrow.
I was getting so many text messages and stuff last night. Were you on the show? Was that you? No, it was a lot of fun, and you know, she was a hoot, and she had a good time, which was, you know, that's the most important thing. She had fun, and you know, so we actually had some stuff happen, and
yeah.
So did you guys get an invite to the wedding, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I guess I don't know how many episodes they have in a season, but yeah, I didn't even know that was coming out last night until people started texting me.
Yeah, I've never watched the show. My guilty pleasure is Sister Wives. So I was watching that and catching up on that, and I caught the preview, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this one.
I don't watch anything that's like currently on. My go-to like shows that I usually watch is like normally Big Bang Theory. I watch that pretty religiously. How I Met Your Mother is one of my favorite ones. I watch pretty religiously. As far as like sitcoms and
the one I'm watching right now is Ghosts. I tend to watch
that one.
Watch
that one. He said it's really, really good.
I like the US version better than the UK version, but they're both really good.
I've seen a couple of episodes of it. It looked pretty good. But I canceled my satellite a while back, so I don't watch anything usually real time. I catch it when it's streaming.
Yeah, we never do.
Yeah, I only get all the stuff because I work for a cable company. So.
I have one last question for you. How has the show changed anything, or has the show changed anything about how you either approach or understand hauntings?
I mean, for me, it was learning a lot more about how to go in and do this research and how to apply these different methods and stuff like that for trying to collect data and just, you know, kind of different things to use. You know, like I said, we don't use a lot of the, I guess you'd almost call it garage tech in a way.
Yeah.
You know, we'd like to use things that's a little bit more reliable and, you know, things that's not even made for paranormal, like the EMCCD cam or the environmental data loggers and stuff like that. Which I got those from Kestrel, which was actually recommended to me by the National Weather Service to use in the field.
Okay.
And so I reached out to them and, you know, was able to get a couple of those devices. And, you know, as you'll see in Family Spirits when it comes out, they have been a real asset to the show for documenting. Because you can pull the app up on an iPad and it connects to it via Bluetooth, and you can watch it lifetime.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is nice. And, you know, if it's within range, we can actually stream it to our nerve center. And so we can have it up on one of our computer monitors there as well to monitor with our other control cameras.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think with the show and all that, it's really helped be a better investigator and hold myself to higher standards when it comes to reviewing evidence and stuff like that as well. And, you know, have somebody else look at it, you know, get a third party opinion on it, because they may say something you don't think of at the moment, or, you know, catch something that you didn't see.
Yeah.
You know, we've had some come out with people like, did you see that back there? No. Totally missed that because I was looking at this.
It's amazing what you'll find if you ever go back.
Yep.
I have found that. I've found some stuff in the past. I'm like, man, how did I miss that? Because I'm so diligent when I'm reviewing evidence. I make sure no one's home. I make sure there's nothing to distract me. But still, like, you know, you're human, and you're just like writing, right, Heather? Like you're going to miss a comma.
Yep.
You know.
Oh,
So,
shush. My
yeah.
You can only look
OCD
at the
makes me
monitor.
proofread over and over.
I know.
You can only look at the monitor so long before your eyes start to cross.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to get
Yeah,
up and just kind of walk around for a minute and kind of
Mhm.
then dive back
Yep.
into it again. Give your ears a rest. Give yourself a break. And
Yep. And then is one last question on my end before we start wrapping it up with you. Is there anything, because I always say hindsight, you look back on things, and I'm good for beating myself up over not doing something or thinking of a way I should have done it. Are there any episodes that you think, looking back, man, I should have done it this way?
I think when you go back and look at things, you're always going to kind of criticize the way you did things. Like you said, hindsight is 2020. Like, oh, why did I not go over there and look at that when it happened?
Right.
But then again, when you're in the moment, there may have been a reason that popped in your head then. But yeah, I mean, I can't name a specific episode offhand, but there have been several times where I'm like, I wish I would have done that a little bit different, or I wish I would have just went over there, would have been there when that happened, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
anything else, Tiffany?
That's always a good reason to go back to locations.
Yeah.
Let's go back and do it again. Let's go back and try this place again. See if you can duplicate what you got the first time.
Right.
And you can get similar stuff. Is this a kind of a residual looping activity that's constantly happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And with going back to the same location over and over, because we had one location that we considered it like almost like our training location. We would have our team meetings there, and then we would have an investigation afterwards. And we compared from month to month what happened. And I think it's and the spirits get to know you too.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we've come across a lot too, is some of the places we go, they say once you're there more often than the spirit, they start to get more active.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've also noticed that things get more active, with weather coming in. When storms are coming in, it seems like, I don't know if the lightning and stuff energizes the air and stuff like that. And I've also noticed a lot more activity, it seems like, in places that are in a close correlation to running water and train tracks. Which that's happened several locations where you have a river, the train tracks, and the location right there next to each other.
Yeah.
And, especially when a train comes by, I don't know if it's something with the way the metals on the tracks and the wheels are, creating, kind of an energy, and then you have the water and everything, and that kind of creates stuff. And, but it's a few things that we've kind of noticed along the way that's really amped up some activity.
Yeah. And since you're noticing that, because one of my research projects that I work on is how areas with higher council seems to have higher levels of paranormal activity. Do you guys document any of that? And have you noticed any correlation between the level of activity that you get?
Quartz and limestone, it seems like, is a pretty good conductor. What was that, season 3? The first time we did Carrick Park's house in Perryville. And we looked into that cave, which had a lot of limestone in it and stuff like that. And we brought in a geologist from Western Kentucky University. And he kind of helped us kind of figure out, look at the rock and look at the cave and stuff like that. And it seemed like one of the waterways actually went under the house, directly under a room where we were having a lot of activity.
Okay. That's pretty
So
interesting.
I think they're running water under the house. Second time we went back there, the strange anomaly that we picked up in that room was no longer there. So I don't know if it was just something that was there that day, or maybe it was deeper water running through the cave at that time. I don't know, but
or how fast it might have been flowing through, or
that was kind of interesting. Another reason to go back to locations, more than once. First time we ever did the Washoe Club in Virginia City, we were there for 3 nights in a row. First 2 nights, we didn't have anything at all happen. Third night, it got a little crazy, but the first 2 nights, it was nothing.
Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people at that location.
But yeah, I think once spirits get to know you, once you're there a little bit, and they know that you're there to, I guess, do good.
Right.
Like they start to get a little bit more responsive to you and, wanting to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because they see so many of these other groups that come through that don't have good intentions, that they kind of just, they have free will just like us. So they don't have to talk to us if they don't want to.
Nope. Yep. Yeah. And I think they can sense when somebody's there to do good and when somebody's there to.
100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Take care of the locations, preserve them, keep them clean, pick up your trash. I hate walking to locations and seeing trash laying around and people just leave there. And it's like just so disrespectful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there was a mine in, was it Nelson, Nevada? And we were investigating inside of it for the documentary that we were filming, and the walls were just filled with graffiti. And it was filled with empty water bottles and trash. And it was so depressing to have to go down there. And it's like you want to pick up every single thing you can, but then, you just don't have enough hands. You'll never get your
investigation done.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful area out there because it was right on the river too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. And there you go. River, running water.
Exactly. And that area is very active because I don't know if you know the history of El Dorado and Nelson, where that area had both deserters from the north and south go there. So then it ended up having its own mini civil war. But then the entire camp was by Native Americans that came through and reclaimed the land. So you had not only a mini civil war battle, but you had, and it was just a hotbed of history and information. And but it was, I walked into that. I mean, we crossed the city line and I could already feel the heaviness in the city. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. There have been places you can really feel the heaviness when you walk into them. And, it's crazy how sometimes you can walk in a room and it's super heavy and then you go back in 5 minutes later and it's like, it's not there anymore.
Nothing happened.
Like, or it leaves while you're doing the investigation.
Yeah. You can feel.
Yeah. My family always jokes I'm either the worst person or the best person to bring with when house shopping, because I'll walk into a home and I'll be like, nope, nope, you don't want this one.
Oh, my husband used to do that. We wouldn't even have to get out of the car. We would just drive. We would look at the listings and we would, go for like the Saturday drive. And there were a few back in California. We would drive and he'd pull up and no, we're not getting out of the car.
Sounds like.
And I look at it and I go, I don't know what you feel, but you know what? We're gonna go with it. I'm gonna trust you.
My parents just
you don't like it. Okay.
And my mom, they pulled into a neighborhood and she's like, there's something in this neighborhood that's dark. And she's like, no. It was like the whole neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
So it's interesting what people can pick up on.
Always trust your first instinct. Don't like second guess yourself, if it's just like, if your first thought is like, no, or I don't like it. And
don't force it.
No. Unless you're us and, we're there to actually find stuff. So,
So are there any upcoming projects that you wish to share with us before we continue, or that you can share? Because I know there's a lot of NDAs on what you do.
Right now, I mean, we're just trying to get caught up on what else is still pending. I know season 1 of Family Spirits is currently on Tubi. Haunted Discoveries can still be seen on Haunt TV, which streams on, Haunt streams on a lot of different things. I think it streams on Amazon now. It streams on Vizio, Roku, Sling. And then I know Haunt also has several of the episodes on their YouTube page as well. So you can find it all there. And we have a lot more coming out. And hopefully I'll I'll have an update on the release for Family Spirits season 3 and 4 as well.
Yeah, I saw the list on IMDb, and I think I know which one's my episode, but it still didn't have dates next to it. But I think because some of them you had the name of the person that was on it, but mine, I think, just off of reading the description, I think I might know which one it is.
I just put those up last week.
Okay. I know I've been searching for it ever since I filmed. I know I jumped the gun and was searching too early for it, but I've been looking.
Yeah, I put those up last week, and once we do get the dates, that's when I'll go back in and put all the dates in.
Okay.
But I wanted to go ahead and get it up and and all that stuff. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I can't tell you which episode yours is right offhand. I'd have to go back and look through them all.
Yeah, I think because from reading the description, I think it's and because it was named The Note, I think was the one. Because I mean, just because of the note, I wrote my grandfather, and that was one thing that Craig tuned into. But I don't know. We'll see.
I'm trying to remember. Like I've reviewed so many episodes and stuff lately. It's hard to keep everything. They all kind of run together.
It's almost like a game now. Am I correct? When it comes out, we'll see.
It's like I should know this.
No, you're fine. You did like you said, 3 seasons in a year, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once they go through the when they go through the edit, we'll watch that cut. Then once it's color corrected, we'll have to go through and watch that cut. Once it's sound mixed, we'll have to go through and watch it again. So we see every episode probably seems like 10 times before they even come out.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot that you don't realize. I'm not into film, so yeah. But just hearing you talk about it.
And then once they're mastered to release,
that's a lot of detail.
And just we got to make sure nothing's missing anywhere, everything looks right, everything's in the right place, and
and it's just you guys doing it. Yeah. Thank you for doing what you do. By the way.
And like I said, I think that's the biggest thing that kind of sets our show apart is that we do everything in-house ourselves.
Yeah.
From the pre-production, you guys
do an amazing job.
From the very beginning all the way through the end of wrap, and during productions, I'm also trying to manage the budget, manage payroll, manage the schedules, and it's a lot to try to keep up with.
Yeah. Anything else, Tiffany, before we start?
No, we got through all the questions that I had.
All your questions?
Yeah.
Anything else we might have missed, Kevin, before we let you go?
I don't think so. It's been a good time, and I appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I'll probably think of a lot more once we get off.
If you do, we have plenty of space. We could always have you back on. I know the rest of the crew is busy, but would love to have all of you on one day just to talk about all of your experiences working together.
That would be fun.
Gosh.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun once you get on the road sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well, perfect.
Had some good times.
Yep. Definitely keep us updated on any projects you have. I've added all of the IMDb pages for both Haunted Discoveries and Haunted Discoveries Family Spirits, and I will also share information on our page as well. So anything else before we close out, Tiffany? We'll just get everything closed out all at once. And
you can follow the Haunted Discoveries on Instagram, on Facebook. And
I'll make sure I get that all posted too, because we have an album on our page on Ghost Education 101 that has all of our guests, and I'll put all of your Facebook pages and everything. And then I think I shared the JJ Polk House as well. But
we have the JJ Polk House one, the Haunted Discoveries, and then I think we have a TikTok too, but I don't have TikTok, so I can't tell you what that login is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I don't really do TikTok.
But I never set it up.
I don't even have the Facebook app on my phone. I have Messenger, but not Facebook.
I need to remove Facebook off of mine because I end up doom scrolling.
The Instagram's my main thing, but I have it set to where it also posts to my Facebook, which I only check that my Facebook like once a week.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. Yep. But I keep up on Instagram more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave up on Instagram a while ago. I guess I think that's more of the go-to now for most people.
Yeah.
And just a few more things. So yeah, we will. I keep saying this every week. We are working on our website. Bear with us. It still has that welcome screen. I know Tiffany and I are working behind the scenes, but we're getting there. And then don't forget, this Sunday, we will be doing our recap for the month. Here are some of our favorite memories from this month, as well as just a chit chat back and forth about what's going on in the paranormal field and our lives. And don't forget to join us January 28th with special guest Bobby Resnick Hawkins. He's a return guest on Ghost Education 101, and our biggest topic with him is Bigfoot. And that is it for today. Again, thank you, Kevin, for joining us. It was great catching up with you and talking about what you guys have planned, what you've done. Looking forward to chatting with you again in the future.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Good night, guys.
Good night, and we will see you guys next week and this weekend. Have a great night.
Bye.